Hey, I wanted to talk to you today about your mindset. That's a really big thing that I focus on as a coach is helping people to really conquer their mindset. We hear a lot of times people want to choose joy or motivation isn't something that we just find, it's something we create. I don't know if you've heard things like that, but those things I believe are true. But something else that has really moved me forward in my journey is finding the ways that my mindset carries me down, brings me down, stops me in my tracks, and really hone in on that and work on transforming that because there's a time in my life where at the beginning of my journey using Beachbody on Demand, being a part of these groups and even walking with people as a coach, I did not believe in myself. And I was working through my first fitness program. And midway through my first fitness program, I went on vacation with my family. And I don't know about you, but even though I grew up with a very loving, blessed family, there's still some wounds there. And they remind me of some parts of me or some past hurts. And so being with them had its challenges, and I didn't realize it. I felt insecure to exercise in front of them, and because of the insecurities that I held onto from my childhood being in their presence, it was the first time I was kind of trying to work out of those things. And when I went to exercise, I just didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel strong enough to exercise. I was mad at myself for not being motivated to keep up with my fitness. I was comparing myself to the other people in my group who seemed like they created the habit once they decided to commit to it and that they didn't have bumps in the road, and that wasn't true. So what I want to talk to you today, I don't know if you read the post yet, but I want to talk to you about those little voices that we hear in our head that come from wounds. They come from hurts that happen in our life, but they also come from just our fallen nature of failing to believe the goodness that we've been created in. And these I like to call are the limiting beliefs that we have of ourselves, whether we've been told them or not, or they're just the mean girl in our head. And you'll see a question in there that says, do you accept compliments? Let me tell you another story. When I was in college, my freshman year, I realized that I was sad. I was very sad with who I was. I wasn't confident in the person that I was, and I really struggled with my body image. I could not say that I was beautiful. I did not feel beautiful by any means. I struggled with anorexia when I was in high school and closed out the year with a little bit of bulimia and was really hoping to dig very deep into bulimia when I was in college, and I wasn't able to do that because I lived in a dorm and other people were around, and I was embarrassed to open up that part of my life and show them that because inside my heart I knew it was wrong. But I thought it's what I needed to do to be enough. And so I started to realize that something was wrong in my heart and my mind and the way I saw myself. By the grace of God, honestly, I don't know how else. Nobody told me that I was struggling. I just figured it out. And it honestly was through prayer. And I had a friend who told me that I need to tell myself that I am a strong person. And, I started thinking about other compliments. If people, saw me as a good friend, or I was valued as my parents' daughter, or if I was beautiful or anything like that, I just could not believe them. And maybe that's a really drastic place that I was in my life, and maybe not everyone suffers like that, but I believe that everybody feels a little bit of that in some season or at almost all times of their lives. So what I've come to realize from that point, that when I could not believe those things nor say them about myself, that a change needed to be made. And I challenged myself to make changes, to put myself out there, be brave, and to start to open my eyes, the eyes of my heart, to see myself the way God saw me. And I'll save the rest of the story for another time, but I've been on that journey, And I have gone through miraculous healing, and the healing never ends, right, until the day we're united with our Creator in heaven. But what I want to tell you is that now I still struggle with those limiting beliefs, the things that the mean girl tells me in my head, the false, those lies that I believe about myself, whether it's, am I a good mother? Am I strong? Am I beautiful? Am I enough? Who here does not struggle with, am I enough? And so I learned this exercise from a mentor of mine, where you just start jotting down all of the things that you hear in your head. It's especially telling when you go through a moment that's very humbling or embarrassing, and you start to hear those voices really loud. Like I just went to a coaching summit event, and it was so fun, but it was in Indianapolis, and I needed to buy a plane ticket to get to Indianapolis. Well, I bought a plane ticket to Cincinnati, Kentucky, and didn't realize it until about 2 days before I left. So I had to, once I realized that, I felt like a failure, complete failure. Like I didn't belong where I was going, that I didn't belong in this industry, that I wasn't a good leader. You know, all those, this is an example. These are all the negative things that I started hearing in my head about myself. And I had to sit down and say, hold up. These things aren't true. I refuse to believe these things as true. And that has taken me a long time to get to this place. So I want to invite you to start doing this with those voices that you hear in your head. Whether your kid starts getting upset at you about the way you choose to parent them, or whether you try on a dress that used to fit and it doesn't. You know, whatever those voices in your head start to pop up that are just mean things that you would never want someone to say to you, that you would never say to yourself. And heaven forbid somebody says something like that to your child, because you're God's child. And you were created beautifully, wonderfully, with gifts and talents and beautiful purpose. Every single day there is a purpose to living the life that you are. You are created for this time right now. It is not a coincidence. And so what you need to do is write out those things that you constantly hear the mean girl in your head telling you. And you need to come face to face with them and realize that they're not true, no matter how true they feel, and work on combating those lies. So for example, if you were to feel like, I am a mean mother, that's one that I struggle with. Something I would say instead is, I am a gentle and compassionate mother who cares deeply for her children and wants the best for them. So whether I don't feel like that every day or not, I'm starting to write my story differently. I'm starting to see myself in a different light. And it'll take time. It'll definitely take time, because the mean girl voices that you hear, they're wounds. They're creating wounds in your heart and your head. And healing needs to happen, and that takes time. So what I want you to do is to write down those things that are negative that you hear, and write an affirmation that combats that. That is the truth over the lie, that sheds light on the darkness that has been ringing true in your heart and your head. And if you have trouble with this, you can reach out to me and I will help you rewrite them. It is so hard and scary to be vulnerable with somebody and say, these are the horrible things that I feel, and say to myself. But I'll tell you, it's so much easier when someone can talk life over you and say, no, look what I see in you, because somebody can give you a different perspective. We're all a part of the body of Christ, and we can see the goodness in you that God's created you in. We have a little bit of God's vision to see the goodness and the love in you, right? So I'm happy to help you with that. I've asked help for other people to do this, especially when it's your first time doing this. And then I want you to hold on to those things, to keep them close to you, and to read those affirmations, not the negative things. Those are going to come up in your head all the time. But read the affirmations every day for the rest of your life. And seasons will change, and new insecurities will come up, and you'll have to rewrite these. So keep doing this practice forever, because it's something that'll will be good forever. So this is, it might not seem like a health and fitness thing, but really this is where it begins. Because once you start to see yourself in a better light and believe in yourself, kids, in a better light, then you will be able to be that fit person that you want to be. You'll be able to be strong in the face of temptation when you have weight loss goals, or you just want to feel better in your skin, or you have a medical condition that you need to take care of, and honing in your nutrition is part of it, right? So once you feel better about yourself, you're going to feel stronger in the face of challenges and be able to face those sacrifices that you have to make for a better version of yourself with a whole lot of armor. So I just wanted to share that with you. Please look at the action step for today and let us know that you have completed the task.